Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Danny DeVito Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and Dolomite is my name, and this
is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Wow. Hello, everybody. This feels right, Alonso. I got to be honest with you.
It's been a while.
This is like the 25 weeks of Christmas phase we had when we started doing these type of movies.
Having a little bit of a flashback.
Yes, it's very nice. Dan's still on sabbatical or strike or whatever we want to call it. He said, I'm not doing any more Danny DeVito movies.
He was tired of hearing you talk about Halfmas, which was last week. And,
I know.
This week. And,
just a couple days ago. Did you do anything to celebrate?
Well, I did a big push for my book that's coming out this fall, the second edition of Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas.
Pre-orders out.
That's right. It's updated and revised, and you can pre-order it anywhere you buy books, whether it's online or your favorite brick and mortar. Bug your library about it, whatever it takes.
Yeah, and many of the movies, not many, but a handful of the movies that are added to this edition are movies that we talked about last year, and I'm sure some from previous years. I don't know if you know this. We've been doing this for a while, so
a little bit. Yeah,
many movies over the years. I'm excited to get my hands on it with an updated cover. I know you're especially excited about the cover.
Definitely, yes. We did the green. Now we're doing the red, and I think it's really going to pop.
Do you have a preference, Alonso, for how to tell people that it's halfway to Christmas? Do you say Leon Day?
I was doing Leon Day originally because that's how the only way I ever heard it, but it didn't really seem to quite grab on. And again, there is a baseball player named Leon Day, and that guy's like, what is happening every June? What are these people bugging me about?
Well, it's like the day that I saw Let's Go Brandon was trending, and I was like, what did I do? And I was very shocked. So Leon Day, the first time that was trending, he's like, what happened?
How come no one's talking about baseball?
No one's talking baseball.
Halfway to Halloween has become a big thing for the horror folks every April, I guess. So I think halfway to Christmas does it. Why not?
Leon Day just never quite did it for me. It never felt right.
It required too many explanations. It was too many jumps.
It's Noel backwards,
because it's halfway.
It's halfway.
Because of course you would do the backwards.
Think halfway, you think
transposition.
Backwards.
Yes. So yeah, Halfmas works, whatever works for you guys.
You guys get it. And Bramblefest is coming up, Alonso. We're going to get to hang out here soon. It's very
looking
exciting.
Forward to it.
Very exciting. And you can still buy your virtual tickets, which is going to be a lot of fun. deckthehallmark.com/fests. Who knows what's going to happen and who's going to show up, but I know Alonso's going to be there. I know
that's right.
At least.
And I love anytime I get to record an episode where I actually get to say this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast, and I have to worry about the second and a half delay that we get, on Zoom.
That's always a good day indeed. Let's talk a sudden case for Christmas of Christmas. What did I say?
4.
Sudden case for yeah, that doesn't make any sense. A sudden case of Christmas. Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
Danny DeVito's daughter.
Yep.
The guy from That 70s Show.
Mm-hmm.
And
Andy McDowell.
And a great kid actor.
From Hallmark's the time traveling pawn show, whatever that thing's called.
Yes,
The Way Home.
The Way Home. Big cast. Can it live up to the cast? Let's find out. It came out theatrically. Limited release there December 5th. 2024 or November or whatever. December 5th is what it says on IMDb. Don't know where that is in relation to where it goes, but that is what we have. And it went a little something like this. Claire and her parents, Jacob and Abby, are in Italy. Big week for Italy and here on the show. And they are visiting her grandfather, Lawrence, who owns a hotel over there. Now, they normally go over there for Christmas, but for some reason they are going in August, and Claire doesn't quite know why, and Lawrence doesn't know why, but that's not going to stop Claire from singing Christmas songs at the top of her voice on the way there. And when they get there, Claire runs off to find her boyfriend Walter, while Jacob and Abby tell Lawrence that the big news here is not that she is pregnant, but that they are getting a divorce. And they're going to tell Claire here so that she is at her happy place. And then they ask Lawrence if he would spill the news, because that's what their therapist said would be the best, which I don't know. I don't know if that's true. But it will give her the freedom to respond as she needs. But Claire's trip is already off to a bad start when she discovers that Walter's winter girlfriend is there. Summer girlfriend is there. She's just the winter girlfriend. She didn't know that, and she is very sad. They drop the news. Claire is sad but not surprised, and she decides to go and hang out in the basement so she can be around all of the Christmas stuff. And she comes up with an idea. She wants one more Christmas as a family, all together. Her parents are unsure about this, but Lawrence says, we're doing it. And we're flying Gams and Pop out too. One problem arises, and it's that one of the hotel guests hates Christmas, and he brings in big money to the hotel. And so Lawrence also needs to make sure that this guy is happy along the way. When Gams and Pop shows up, Pop sees a woman that he recognizes and immediately starts being weird. He opens up to Lawrence that he once slept with this woman 10 years ago. And it was one time, but she's going to be here all week. And Gams does not know about this fling. So Lawrence offers to cover for him the best that he can. And Lauren keeps finding himself in people's mess when he discovers that on Jacob's camera, there's a picture from a camping trip that he went on where he seems to be getting cozy with another woman that is not Claire. Pop decides to just stay in his room while Gams just goes out, and she ends up meeting the woman, Claudia. And she takes a liking to this woman, Claudia, not knowing, obviously, that this one night stand that Claudia is talking about is with her husband 10 years ago. So that's tough. But she talks about how she's never quite gotten over that one night. And Gams is kind of amazed by this and interested in this. And she kind of takes a liking to this guy who teaches them archery. There is a lot of feels going on here. We also find out that Abby had a little something with her boss. Guys, everyone cheats in this movie, including the kid. It all started with the kid.
With Walter.
With Walter and his summer girlfriend. Everyone cheats. So that's sad. So it finally becomes, it all comes out. And it becomes this whole thing. And then Claire's new puppy that she got is missing. It is a whole thing. Claire is sad, and rightfully so. All she wanted was a puppy and one more Christmas, and now she has none of it. So while the family is trying to figure out what to do, she ends up sneaking out. She ends up finding the puppy, which is nice. And when she comes back, she gets some okay news. Her parents are actually going to stay together. Gams and Pop, they are splitting up. They're not gonna give it another go. But mom and dad are sticking together, and the dog is fine, and I guess everyone's happy. And that, my friends, was a sudden case of Christmas. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about a sudden case of Christmas here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about the 2024 Danny DeVito Christmas movie, A Sudden Case of Christmas. Excited to talk about this one. Lots to digest here. I'm going to start with you, Alonso. I believe you have seen this movie before last year. Did you review it last year, or did you just seek it out?
I thought about reviewing it, and then I saw it and thought, maybe I won't.
Well, here we are now. Here's your chance, your big break.
I guess, yes. Inevitably, these things go. Just for the record, by the way, I dug up the old email that they sent me about it. It opened in theaters in the U.S. and major digital platforms on November 7th.
Okay.
And then it came out on DVD on November 19th.
So nothing about December 5th.
No, don't know where that came from.
Okay. All right. Love to see it.
In any event, this movie, it is a remake of an Italian film that I have not seen. And I can only imagine that in Italy, you can get away with making a movie that is about a little girl trying to keep her parents from getting a divorce by throwing a big Christmas party in August, and not have it also be about or one night stands and infidelities and all this very kind of adulty stuff that here just doesn't flow together very well at all. Because like the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie, you are like, it's the kid and the kid's going to parent trap, the parents and get them back together. And we're going to have Christmas and yada. And then it's just like, bam, bam, bam. The hits keep coming. I slept with this person. He slept with that person. And it's like, I don't know who this movie's for, because I wouldn't show it to a child. And I don't think it's sophisticated enough to be the kind of adult comedy that it wants to be, because it's very goofy and slapsticky. So I wish they'd picked a lane, basically, I think is my take here.
That's fair. It is tough because I start this movie and I'm immediately hooked, because this is it makes sense to me, right? This kid wants this last Christmas. We're getting a Christmas in August movie, and it actually like makes sense. Right. And it's going to be wonderful. And then the hits keep hitting, and you get knocked down, you get up again, and poor Claire's getting chumbawumbled all over the place, and it's tough. But you have this, like, at the helm of the movie, we have this actor, this Claire, this girl who's really good. Like,
do you know the other Christmas movie she was in last year?
She looks so familiar. What was she in?
Well, I don't think you saw it.
Okay.
It was Terrifier 3.
Oh, wow. Good for her.
Yeah.
What a year.
Covering the landscape here.
Well, no, I did not see Terrifier 3, although I did consider adding it to the list of things that we should cover on Monday or on Friday for Festive Friday, but thought that might get away from us a little bit.
No. I don't know if you saw the Breakfast All Day review, but I basically had to have Dave White explain the movie, because I spent most of the movie like this, and he would occasionally tell me, okay, you can look now.
I think that we should have a rule. Anytime a theater has to put a like disclaimer on the outside of the theater before you walk in, we shouldn't do it on this year's show.
I like that policy.
It's probably a good call. But so we have like I thought she gave a really great performance and like had the potential to make just a really, to your point, a really cute, fun kids Christmas movie with a really great performance by the lead kid. And then there were like chunks of this movie where she's nowhere to be found. Right. And like, I love Danny DeVito as much as the next guy who doesn't. And it's like, I felt for Danny DeVito because everybody just keeps unloading their trauma onto him, which is part of the fun of this movie. But I do agree. It did feel like a movie that could have been 3 different movies. And if they just picked one of those lanes, it could have been great. But what we're left with was a movie where I liked it overall. I did enjoy it overall, but I felt like I could have enjoyed it even more if it just felt like it was one movie instead of 3. And so, but, lots of good performances and, the fun mess of it all, maybe it was one too many cheats for Brand, It was a lot of cheating, a lot of cheating, but it was fun. Overall, it was fun, but it could have been better, in my opinion, if they had just done the.
I suspect maybe plays better in Italian, but I mean, look, it's written and directed by Peter Chelsom, who did a film in the 90s I really loved called Hear My Song, which actually stars the guy who plays Otto in this movie, the bellhop,
Yes.
Adrian Dunbar.
Oh, he's
So
the
I mean,
best.
they got like there's good people involved here, and to your point about the kid being really good, she and DeVito I think have really lovely
Yes.
chemistry together, because they talk about like part of the reason that they're making him tell her about the divorce is because they have this special relationship, and when you see them together on film, you buy that.
Yeah.
So if the movie had just been about their stuff and the parents and not dragged in, you know, pops and the hot Italian lady, like, you know, I think we might have been a little more on the Christmas tip here.
Yeah. Let's get to all the feels though. What this movie gave us feels. I'll start with you, Alonso.
Well, I mean, look, I've never been to the Dolomites, but I want to go now. Like, they're gorgeous, and even in the summertime, like, it just seems like this beautiful mountain range. I can only imagine how stunning it must be at actual Christmas, you know, when there's snow on the ground. I did, again, like, I thought the kid and DeVito had a lovely chemistry together. And, you know, there are moments that land, like when the parents kind of resolve their stuff and actually talk about how, you know, she has so committed to her career and he's felt like useless since losing his job. And like, there are moments along the way where you're thinking like, okay, yeah, I want to see this movie. I want to see this movie. They shouldn't all be in this one movie.
Yeah. Otto was so funny in this movie. Multiple times he made me laugh. Particularly, there's a scene where Pop decides he is going to go to wherever they're going to do their little Christmas as a family. And they're going to get on this bus to get there.
The parade of the Panettone.
Yes, the parade of the Panettone. And basically Lawrence is like, hey, it's just going to be family. You have nothing to worry about. So he gets on the bus, and Otto comes onto the bus with Claudia and is like, she thought she wasn't family. This is hilarious. And Lawrence turns to him and is like, don't you know that Santa's in the doghouse? And he says, no, but if you hum a few bars, I'm sure I can figure it out, which was a very funny line. And Otto was so funny. Like, his delivery was great throughout the movie. So very funny moment. And to your point, like Dan DeVito and the girl, like, there's a scene where they have like this dance and he's thinking about his wife who passed, and like, that scene was really sweet. And also the Christmas lights. The hotel decorated for Christmas. I can see why this would be her happy place.
And even a great advent calendar too.
Great advent calendar.
And they open the doors in the right order as opposed to
shout out.
People. So that's
shout
exciting.
out. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to the Wait, What, the Hallmark here on Deck the Hallmark. I keep thinking someone's going to say it with me, and no one does. It throws me off.
It's echoey studio.
Yeah. Where is everyone? Let's get to the Wait, What. It's where we talk about what in this movie. Mom, Dad, is this a joke? Alonso, what you waiting on? What you wanting?
Oh gosh. Well, I'll tell you, Otto is, as much as I enjoy him, also a wait what, in that he appears to be the sole employee of this hotel. Yeah. We don't see a housekeeper. We don't see a cook or a valet or a concierge, nothing. It is all Otto all the time. And the hotel also seems to like vary in terms of who's even there. Yeah. Like, because there are times where it seems like it's just the family, but then other times there's like the jerk British, you know, rich guy with the helicopter, or or Claudia, but then they'll just be gone suddenly. You know, that's kind of weird. I didn't understand the premise of the parade of the Panettone, which has either. A lot of moving parts and a lot of like poetry things that you have to say, and you have to put frosting on a Panettone, and there's a guy dressed as Santa, and I would have liked just a 30 seconds explanation of what the heck that was about. Yeah, and then beyond that, I think it's just a matter of the tone, you know, the what are we doing here, and who's this movie for? That's the giant wait what for me of A Sudden Case of Christmas.
At one point, Claire is getting out of her bed, which is like she has surrounded by Christmas lights that are like dangling down, and for some reason, the Christmas lights sound like a chain link fence. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's just like, and clearly they added the sound in afterwards. They just couldn't quite figure out what sound they should pick, but it wasn't that one. That was not the one that you should have picked because I noticed it, which is not the goal, I think, when adding sounds to movies. You don't want people to notice it. And here we go. At one point, Pop Pop is, looking at his wife's social media page, and her social media name is Rose NY, like Rose, New York. And I was like, what is this?
She got in early on that.
She's Rose, New York. And that's what you need to know. She's hip. She's hip. She's cool. At one point, Claire is in the kitchen with the dog, and she is carrying the dog. And the dog is now at eye level with a lot of open pots in the kitchen. And I imagine this dog is terrified. This is a bit, but also that dog shouldn't be back there in this hotel kitchen, right?
That is giving me health code violation.
Has to be. There's no way some of that dog's hair did not fly into those pots. There's no way.
Into someone's eggs.
The puppy does go missing, and it is at this point that the rich guy who, gives a lot of money to the hotel, who hates Christmas, decides that he is going to help. And the way that he decides that he is going to help is by flying his helicopter very close to the ground, which is what would, I think, a dog would run away from that sound.
No, they'd go right to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a helicopter? I've always wanted to go on one of those. And I finally understood how people must feel like listening to me. Where I say things and people are like, why is he saying that word that way? Because they made Andie MacDowell say the word poem a lot, but she says it poem, which I know is a way that people say that word, but she said it so many times. It was like poem, poem, poem. And I was like, this is how people feel listening to me. I finally get it. Give that line to anyone else.
And she's a retired poetry professor, so she'd had plenty of time to work out that one.
That's the fancy way to say it. It's a poem, poem, poem. Let's get to what the hallmark. That's where we wonder what could have been. Maybe having us clear any questions that we still have. Alonso.
I will give them the benefit of the doubt that the parents are going to work their stuff out and maybe see a better therapist and, fix their marriage and stay together and everything will be great. But I have to wonder about Gams and Pop Pop. Mainly if Claire hadn't forced them to come to Italy during a different time of year and Pop Pop and Claudia had not re-encountered each other, could they have just continued to ignore the elephant in the room regarding their marriage for another decade or more? And will they resent the kid for that? I have to wonder.
Great. That's a great question. The fact that this is a remake of an Italian movie, I think gives me some sort of explanation as to why Danny DeVito is running a hotel in Italy. Why was that where they chose for this movie? It being a remake, I'm assuming that was how it was in the original Italian movie. And so they just chose not to change that. But Danny DeVito being the guy who's run it, he's clearly, I'm assuming grew up in America. I don't know, but I'm
thinking maybe Dead Wife was Italian.
I would think so. I don't
were
know.
They clear about that?
I don't know, but it's they got all this way to see
you
Danny
can take
DeVito.
Danny DeVito out of America, but you can't take America out of Danny.
You can't. But Danny DeVito's running a hotel in Italy, and I don't really get an explanation, and so I'm left wondering. And the only thing I can assume is that they just chose not to change that from the original.
And his one employee is Irish, so go figure.
It's a big mystery. It's a big mystery. Yeah. We did it, everybody. Congratulations to us. Next Friday is the 4th of July, and we're gonna do a crazy thing where we take the day off, everybody, and then we're gonna be back next week. In 2 weeks, we're doing it, everybody. A Fireman for Christmas, which is the much anticipated sequel to Christmas at Holly Lodge, which is a movie. And that is what you should watch on the 4th of July. Go watch the fireworks that are Christmas at Holly Lodge.
And if you didn't see our review of Christmas at Holly Lodge, definitely dig into that afterwards. It will give you all the 51 and a 25 vibes.
That's exactly right. The fireworks, that's all you need. That's all you need for the 4th of July.
And we couldn't do it without Daniel, so he will be
sorry,
back.
Christmas at the Holly Hotel. I said Lodge.
Oh, Holly, right. That's a Hallmark
Lodge
movie.
is a Van Winkle movie, right? Am I?
No, it's Ali Sweeney.
Ali Sweeney. Whatever, guys. What's the Van Winkle Lodge movie? Christmas Getaway.
So many
Guys,
lodges.
So many lodges and hotels and whatever. Christmas at the Holly Hotel was the sequel. Fireman for Christmas. How are they related?
We'll find out.
See you next time for that. Until then, move first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. What? For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.